Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scaryish podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, this is Adam Diaz,
Hello.
And today we are going to be reading your homegrown horrors. Adam, tell us, what are homegrown horrors?
Homegrown horrors are the stories that you, wonderful listeners and viewers, have sent us of your paranormal, supernatural, spooky, spiritual, sometimes true crime, sometimes coincidental experiences that either you, your family, your friends have had happen, so you can speak from experience or at least tell us a secondhand tale that we would really like to hear. And we do thank everyone so much that sends those in. Robin, if a listener or a viewer had a story like that they would like to send in, where can they send it?
So, if you folks have any of the aforementioned stories, you can go and email them at storytime@scaryish.com. You can go to our website, scaryish.com. There's a contact us page. You can type in all that information and it gets sent to us that way. You can go to Facebook, Instagram. We have a whole bunch of different social media. All those links are on our website, so check it out.
Indeed. So reach out to us however you are comfortable. And before we get going with any stories, there's one thing we do need to discuss. It's the fact that it is January.
Oh.
So January Patreon push is in full effect. And you folks have been responding. And it is pretty awesome. So don't get left out on the Patreon bandwagon. For as low as $4 a month, you can sponsor 2 sad, lonely podcast hosts. And it's not really that sad or lonely. But seriously, it really helps us keep the show going and helps us move us towards eventual goals. And we also have a goal of at 150 patrons, we're going to go to the Stanley Hotel.
We're at 67.
So there we go. We picked up a lot. We lost a few. That's just sort of the ebbs and flows, but we got another one today. It's really nice to see. We did. It's really nice to see folks coming out and signing up. You don't have to sign up for a lot. If you want, you can. You can donate as much as you want per month, but it definitely helps us out with consistent income that we can see. And also, we give you guys a little something. For $1 a month, you get someone honking outside of our house.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah. For $1 a month, you get early access to all of our content and ad-free access to all of our content as well. At the $3 level, you get the Choose Your Own Adventure tier, which means that you get to tell us what to do when we post topics, where you folks can pick what topics we are going to cover. At the $10 level, what is that one called? You basically get some free stuff, which is pretty awesome, that Robin creates.
Ghostly goodies.
Designs.
Pretty sure that's what the name of the tier is. I don't know.
And
Badge
ships
Honor,
to
that's
you.
what it's called.
$25, I believe, is the shout-out tier, where you wind up getting a shout-out at the first of every month, and then the $50 tier is where you get like a goodie package that Robin curates some things in and sends out to you every month. Also, if you get any of those tiers above $1, you get everything that came before it. So it's pretty cool. Check it out. It sincerely helps us out. So that is what January Patreon push is all about, to try and get those Patreon numbers a little bit higher, to get us in that growth cycle for the new year. It worked really well last year. It's working so far so good this year, but let's make it so far so great. So thank you to everyone who's already signed up.
That's so good.
You like that?
Yeah.
I just spun that right off the dome piece, so I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Have that knowledge nug.
There you go. So seriously, though, it really helps, and thank you to everyone who donates. We appreciate all of you. Also, shout out to Molly719, who followed us an hour ago, so 30 minutes before the show started. We appreciate that. So here's the deal with tonight. So we're doing this thing, 6:30, it's Thursday. Everyone knows that because you're here, and if you're listening to it, you don't care because you're not watching us live, so it doesn't matter. But for our live episodes, because Robin has school, and her school schedule has changed, we are no longer doing Storytime live episode recordings on Wednesdays. They will now be weekly on Tuesdays. Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, which means it's 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, which is, and of course, those are PMs, because no one wants to watch stuff in the morning, and if you do, you're crazy. So
Australia is watching us in the morning.
That's true. You're wonderful people. We love all of our listeners who watch us in the morning, which is great. But yeah, we're moving to Tuesdays. Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please join us on Tuesdays. I know a lot of folks have been like, I really want to catch an episode, but I can't do it on Wednesday. And because we've had Thursday episodes a lot lately because of the holiday, finals, whatever it was, we've met a lot of new spooky friends that were able to join us, which is fantastic. So I'm hoping we see the same thing happen on Tuesdays. Very excited. I know we've already announced this, but it goes into effect next story time. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and we hope you will join us. All right, so for this story time, the stories we're going to read to you, here's the deal. One of them is very short. 2 of them are medium length, and one of them is very, very long. So I'm going to do the super short one and the very long one, and Robin's going to do the 2 mediums. I let her choose. Ladies' choice. So that's how we're going to roll tonight. And I believe I'm going first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So here it comes. This is the first one of the show. The subject is Deja Vu, which happens to be my favorite strip club. That's totally a joke, but the Northwest Indiana listeners who just heard that were like, ew, because it's apparently a gross one. I've never been there. Okay. What? It starts out like this. And also, this is from Jasmine. I just recently found your podcast. I'm from Canada, and I don't know if you have talked about deja vu before, but I've had dreams that I won't really remember, but within the few next weeks or maybe months, I will see a scene that I know I have seen before, and then it clicks that it was from my dream. My best friend has also had these dreams, and he told me that recently he has been trying to have these dreams more and more frequently, like once or twice a week.
How do you choose to see it more often?
I don't know if you're choosing. I think you can take an active effort into lucid dreaming, which is something I know a few people have in my life, at least, friends. I think my brother also did it as well, where you basically try and take control of your dreams and see if you can access this sort of prophetic information by having control of your dreams. Maybe that's what this person was trying to do.
Maybe.
It's weird, though, and it's scary, and we've had some of the worst sleep paralysis emails we've had from people who tried to do lucid dreaming, and then all of a sudden something took over the dream, which is just fucking terrifying. That sounds like a synopsis for a horror movie.
I have had a lot of cases of deja vu in my life where I sit there and I realize, or I stand there, it doesn't matter, whatever situation I happen to be in at the time, and I realize I've dreamt this exact situation. You just said that word. You were standing in that exact same spot. I was sitting here. This was my view. It's crazy when that happens. And I don't know how that happens.
I've had it happen multiple times. Here's the other cool thing. This email's not over, but I want to say this. Okay, you know what? I'm going to say this because if I don't, I'll forget it by the end of it. The cool thing about deja vu is I saw someone post somewhere else in our Spooky Friends group, I think, that sometimes deja vu, or maybe this was last Storytime, is when all these parallel universes that have all these different things happening based off of different decisions that have been made in your life, it's when one of them at least overlaps with a decision that you also made. So you somehow align, no matter what decision you made, you were eventually going to make this small, innocuous decision to, open the fridge and take out the milk, and then you have that weird feeling of deja vu because another version of you in an alternate universe is doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, and that's where that sort of comes from. That's a cool theory. I mean, obviously there's no science behind it or anything like that.
When I dream it, and I know I've dreamt it months ago or years ago, and it happens, how does that make sense?
So I think in that case, it's because when you're dreaming, you're seeing an alternate reality version of you that because of the decisions they've made, accelerated their timeline where they wound up doing that thing before you did. But you were eventually going to get to the same spot in the same exact way. It just took you longer to get there because the destination was the same, but your road winded a bit more because you got distracted or saw a butterfly or whatever happened that your alternate parallel reality version just got there faster. Maybe that's what that is. That's my crazy, bizarre theory.
I definitely see a lot of butterfly... more like ADD moments where... I was having a conversation with my coworkers today. Thank you so much, Laura Ann, for subscribing. I had a conversation with my coworkers today, and I was talking to them about something, and then one of our other coworkers walked up from behind us or something, and I'm just like, "Oh, nice haircut," and everybody in the cube just goes yes, squirrel, because I just stopped talking
and randomly addressed someone else entirely.
Yeah, so.
Yep. I believe that. I could see that, considering that, I've known you for 7 years now, and that's a very frequent thing. So, That's true. All right, we're going to get back to this email. So they give an example. How do I know that? They say, for example, I swear that I've seen moments that I wouldn't have been able to before, like me having a dream of a room, and then a few months later, me seeing the exact same thing from my dream in a room that I moved into in a completely different province. So yeah, it's a really good example of something that randomly happens. Shout out to I'm What's for Dinner for subscribing with their own money.
Thank you so much.
We sincerely appreciate you. But that is the end of the email. And I think there's a lot of instances of folks who have deja vu, and it's really, really creepy, and it kind of throws you through a loop. Sometimes you have it, and you're like, oh man, I got deja vu, and then it goes away, and sometimes you have it, and it just absolutely blows your mind. So, yeah. Shout out to Emanon, who just redeemed an Ask a Question. I'm going to go ahead and get to that. Robin, tell us more about deja vu. Also, send us emails if you've had deja vu or the creepiest deja vu moments.
Yeah, the creepiest ones.
I want to hear about them
because
for sure.
We can't really read the ones that are I had this deja vu moment where I was like, doing the dishes. And I was like, oh my God, I've dreamt about doing the dishes. No, we would like some super creepy ones or like, what the hell? Why do I feel this strange thing type ones.
Yeah,
so.
What she said.
Anyway, okay, so I'm going to get into my next story. So this one is from Kyle on Facebook.
What up, Kyle on Facebook?
And it goes something like this. Okay, so love you guys. Been listening to your podcast for a couple weeks now, usually at work. Sometimes at home with my wife. You guys are so cute.
That is cute.
I love it. But this story took place a couple of years ago. Now, a quick backstory. We moved from Pennsylvania to Wisconsin 6 years ago, and about 4 years ago, my wife and our 2 youngest kids went back to Pennsylvania for 2 weeks. So at this point, it's me, my oldest son, who was 5 at the time. Me and my oldest son, who was 5 at the time. Totally skipped a whole word because I don't know.
Right. It's all good.
Well, I had a friend over. We were drinking, listening to music. He was getting ready to go, so we were shutting down, and I was standing in front of the entertainment system shutting off my PlayStation. I was listening to Spotify, and my buddy Ben was standing by the front door, right at the base of the steps, and over the sound of music, I heard Alex yell down for me. Ben heard it, plain as day, as well. I look at Ben, and he says, I think someone's hollering for you upstairs, and I say, yeah, I heard him. I finish shutting everything down, and I go upstairs into my son's room, which is up the stairs and in the farthest room from the stairs. So this room is way far back. It's like, how the heck could he have been yelling that loudly? I walk in, look at Alex, who is completely dead asleep, past the point of yelling in his sleep. And I wake him up and ask him if everything's okay and if he hollered at me. He looks at me with this blank face and says, what are you talking about? I'm going back to sleep. So this kid was asleep.
Yeah,
completely.
He was dead asleep, and he's just so confused that you woke him up to ask him that question.
So he says, I'm going back to sleep, which is kind of funny coming from a 5-year-old. But I went back downstairs, look at Ben, and I said, he is absolutely passed out, dead to the world. I had to wake him up. So Ben looks at me and says, okay, on that note, I'll see you tomorrow at work, buddy. Have fun. So
That's
his friend's
hilarious.
like,
I'm abandoning your haunted house. Enjoy that.
It's like that. I know we bring it up a lot, but that like 2-sentence horror story thing where it's like, I heard it too. You know what I mean?
That's so creepy.
Kind of a shorter one, but feel free to read it on the podcast. I do have more, and so does my wife. And she was also saying, if you haven't already done a topic on the Pennhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania, you should really look into it. Nice. I don't know if we've covered that. I did an asylum episode where I covered a couple different asylums.
Right.
But I don't remember if Pennhurst was one of the ones that I covered.
Checking right now. You said Pennhurst Asylum?
Yeah.
We're going to find this.
Well, the episode is just called Asylums. So I don't know.
That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So we had a Haunted Asylums episode. Fudge me.
Yeah, I don't know if Pennhurst was one of them or not.
We'll look into it, and if we haven't covered it, we will check it out, and we will try and get it covered
soon.
So, solid suggestion. And honestly, since we had the topic we had the topic on Tuesday, we've gotten a few extra suggestions either emailed to us or posted in the Discord, which honestly are so awesome because sometimes we just can't find stuff to do, and we're looking for a little bit of inspiration. When it comes from you folks, we know someone out there actually wants to hear it. So send in your topic suggestions. They definitely help. And thank you, Kyle, for sending in your story. That's creepy. Either your house is haunted or your son is haunted. You can't throw either of them out, but I don't know. Maybe get them blessed or something.
That's fucked up.
So, all right, cool. So I'm going to move into my second and my final email of the show. It is quite long, and the subject is homegrown horror. And it starts out like this. Hey guys, my name is Gabby.
Hello, Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. Just so you know, I asked my mom, how are the emails? She says, they're really good. And I said, how is that really long one? She says, it's really good, and it was really easy to read. I barely had to change anything. And considering how long this is, that is sincerely appreciated. So I will continue with your email. I'm from Pennsylvania, and prefacing this by saying that some fucked up shit is going on, and it's kind of spooky.
Pennsylvania is...
We've heard a lot about Pennsylvania lately.
Right. Isn't it like some of the original America, like colonies, Pennsylvania, you know?
13 original colonies. I can't remember. I just know that part of the song.
I have no idea what any of the original colonies were.
Scout them, tell all about them, one by... Okay, we're going to keep going before I get a copyright strike for this.
Mick Shake and Bake Redeemed ask a question and says, are we interrupting again this week? No. Whoops.
It's okay. No big deal. No interruption.
All right.
Pennsylvania is definitely part of the old country just because it's the East Coast and we progressively moved left.
Okay.
And it's been around for quite a long time.
So I feel like that
it was there before it was Pennsylvania, so it's been around for a super long time.
But if they're ghosts, it's probably because there's such a huge, lengthy history,
Yeah. Isn't Gettysburg in Pennsylvania? Actually, I have no idea where Gettysburg is. That shows you how ignorant I am. You covered Gettysburg.
That was like our maybe, 5th episode or something? It was really beginning it wasn't
episode. That early. I don't think so. I'm going to fact check you on that one. So, all right, it's okay, though. I'm going to keep going, because like I said, this episode is very long. I'm going to start from this email is very long. I'm going to start from the beginning, and start this by saying that I have always had weird things happen in my life, but it wasn't until recently I have looked back to actually acknowledge what had been happening. This is going to be long. Sorry. So growing up, I was raised Catholic, and I believe the first time I ever saw, in quotations, anything was at the age of 6. I'm 18 now. I remember this memory clear as day, even though I literally have the memory of a 96-year-old woman with Alzheimer's. That's hilarious.
I asked one of my coworkers today, I was like, so you're a Cowboys fan, but you're not from Texas. Why is that? And he's like, I've literally told you this story before. And I had to look at him. I'm like, I'm an Etch-a-Sketch. Tell me again.
I call her my little Etch-a-Sketch because you shake her a tiny bit and she forgets everything. So I always try and not shake her during the show because then she'll forget where we're at or what we're doing. Oh, God, no. Emanon has redeemed and asking questions. Okay, guys, Shawnee and I are out. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Emanon.
Thank you so much.
And I'm really happy that wasn't just distinctly for an interruption.
Oh, yeah.
So no big deal.
What were we talking about now?
See? The Etch-a-Sketch thing.
No, we were talking about something.
Etch-a-Sketch. How you forget everything. How you asked your coworker why he's a Cowboys fan for not being from Texas.
Oh, no. Okay. So there was a story that... So this is another tangent. But our friend Charlie, sometimes I'll be like, what's going on? She's like, I'm Charlie. You're in a safe place.
Yeah.
Because I just forget all the time. Yeah. Anyway, you can continue on now.
Continuing on. It was a cold night in January, and it was just past the holidays. It was the Friday right after Christmas. Trying to figure out the days there. So it was probably like right after New Year's. So it would be like New Year's, the day after New Year's Day probably. That Christmas was probably one of the worst for me growing up because my first pet, a bunny named Flopsy, I had to say Flopsy that way, I'm sorry, passed away on Christmas morning. I did not take her passing well since I was the one who found her, and she seemed like my only friend.
You found her?
I often felt left out, being the youngest in my family and the only female, and I was honestly just really sad. I remember going to bed feeling really numb that Friday just because I felt I had no one. I don't know if you guys have ever felt so sad that you felt empty, but being so young, I didn't know how to deal with that type of pain, so I just prayed. My faith was really strong when I was younger, so I felt somewhat comforted and went to bed relaxed. It was around 2 a.m. when I awoke to small thumps, giggling, and a small on and off tinkling noise, in parentheses, almost like a small bell. I remember opening my eyes to see where the noise was coming from, and at first I didn't see anything, but when I sat up in my bed, I saw movement to my right, atop the curtains in my room. This is pretty creepy. On a small railing, there were 7 small figures. I don't think I can express how beautiful they were. Words cannot do them justice. I remember they waved at me and then carried on with their playing.
No.
They danced around and swung these long ribbons, and they were just so happy.
Like a bunch of fairies.
Yeah, it sounds like fairies. I remember feeling like everything was going to be okay. I didn't feel my sadness, only a bright feeling in my chest. It literally felt like minutes, but apparently it was hours. One moment I was mesmerized by the figures, and the next thing I knew, I was blinking away the darkness of night and opening my eyes to the morning light creeping in through my windows. When I, quote-unquote, awoke, I was sat at the very end of my bed, feet hanging off the edge and tears streaming down my face. My picture of my bunny was lying on the floor, and my blinds were open, letting the light fill the room. I kid you not, I was scared as shit. I noped the fuck out of there, and I ran straight to my parents' room at the end of the hallway and jumped into their bed and just sobbed my eyes out.
Aww.
My mom was so confused until I told her what happened, and she just smiled and claimed they were my guardian angels. Crazy, I know. But I guess that spooked me just because of the picture falling. I don't know.
When I think of fairies, I think mischievous, because not all fairies are there for good.
This is very true. That's where my head went immediately, too. So,
I mean, it could be something really sweet, Like, they're
this seemed nice so far, but there's a lot more.
Or they're like, you want to cry, bitch?
Oh my God.
Check that out.
There's a lot more to this email.
You know?
All right. It goes on to say, I feel like the concept of seeing angels is just so beyond me and extremely abstract. I have like 2 brain cells. As a result of this incident, I didn't sleep in my room for weeks. Fast forward to me being a teenager. Not gonna lie, my early teenage years sucked. When I was like 13 to 16, I was really depressed, and for a while I was suicidal. I'm okay now, and I just felt like I didn't have a purpose. That in itself sucked, but it was around this time that I started getting sleep paralysis. At first, it was just me not being able to move, but as time went on, I started seeing things in the room and just the usual. I guess, but in all honesty, I would just get out of it, turn over, then act like nothing happened. No biggie, but then stuff started happening around my house, or at least I started noticing stuff happening in my house. Sometimes my brother and I would wake up in completely separate rooms at the same exact time to hear people talking, laughing, and singing.
Disembodied voices, especially laughter, freaks me out.
Stuff would move, doors would open, and my personal favorite, lights would turn on and off. High key, I ignored it.
High key?
Is high key like a young person thing?
It's like the opposite of low key.
Okay. If I chose not to acknowledge it, it doesn't exist, or at least that's what I thought. But one night, my brother and I woke up at the same time, except this time he was in sleep paralysis, and I'm not entirely sure why I felt I needed to go to his room. I felt like I needed to. But I did, and I actually woke him up out of it. He told me he saw something, and he wouldn't tell me what exactly. He was so frightened that he actually slept in my parents' room for a week, and he was 18 at the time. Holy shit.
I mean, what? Did he sleep in bed with them? Or was he like, nah, dog, I'll sleep on the floor, but I'm not going back to that room?
It just says in their room, so I don't know.
Or is that room giant and you can fit another bed in there?
Maybe it's not, and he was just that scared. All right, it goes on to say, it was then that I was going to figure out what's up with my house. I started reading books, but most of the stuff I read seemed like bullshit. No surprise there. Fast forward 2 years, and we are in current time. The past 3 months of my life have been hell. I've been having problems with my parents, my adoption, and school. Nothing has let up. I still get sleep paralysis. I still hear things and see things. Things still move, and lights turn off and on, and it's been getting worse, and I wanted answers.
That's terrifying.
Or so I thought.
Oh, okay.
A few weeks ago, the teacher I'm interning with heard my problems and directed me to the demonologist, in parentheses the story about the Warrens, and a lot of the problems I've been having are in one way or another addressed in the book. But some of the lines that have had me the most shook have to do with living space.
Adam doesn't know how to say like hip lingo like shook.
Well, it's because like it had
me shook.
It had a return. It was on the next sentence, and then there was a comma afterwards. Fuck you. How about that? All right. This is what the quote is from the book she was reading from Ed and Lorraine Warren. Quote, if there are a lot of bushes or evergreens outside the house blocking the windows, chop them down. Let the sun in.
What?
Inside, paint the walls white, yellow, or light blue. Oh man, I'm so glad our bedroom is light blue.
Teal's my favorite color. So.
These colors interfere with spirit vibrations.
Fuck yeah.
Get rid of pictures and mementos of previous owners found in the attic or basement or garage. You might, oh fuck, we have a painting from the previous owners.
Shut the fuck up.
In our crawl space. Yeah, we
totally
totally do.
We gotta get rid of it.
You might also consider selling mirrors and pieces of old furniture that came with the property, and it would also be a good idea to have the house blessed. But most of all, a happy family, a happy home is the best protection against evil. Negative emotions usually trigger spirit activity, so along with everything else, create an emotional atmosphere in the home where no problems can occur. Yeah, thanks Ed and Lorraine. If we could all fucking create an emotional space where no problems can occur, I think we'd all be better off. Wow, what great advice. I'm sorry, that last one just triggered me like, oh, it's that easy? Cool, just create the best space imaginable to fucking live so nothing bad ever happens? Who would have thought that would be the best thing to do to keep demons away?
You don't like this place?
I love this place, but like problems can occur anywhere. Like I could stub my toe and be like, motherfucker! And it's like a demon's gonna pop in and be like, what up? You thought I was never coming. So just get rid of most negative emotions as well as you can is how I wish they would have phrased that. Okay, I'm going to get back to this email.
Now I want to just chuck that painting we have.
We have to get rid of that fucking thing. The only reason I've kept it is because I kind of want the frame. But now I feel like the frame is haunted because I just read that. So
the frame is haunted.
All right. My house has never felt like home for me, which I guess that explains the darkness looming here, more specifically in my room in particular. My room has been constantly freezing. Man, I'm jealous. And I feel like the air is constantly suffocating.
Free air conditioning.
I haven't gotten a full night's sleep in weeks due to awful sleep paralysis. This isn't completely abnormal, I guess, but when I read the part of the demonologist where they addressed the difference between a ghost and a demon, I couldn't help but get scared. Quote from this book: "A ghost may scare you," Ed replies. "A demonic spirit will scare you and eventually threaten your life. In the early stages, the phenomena associated with both human and inhuman spirits may be the same. Both types of spirit will seek to make their presence known by manipulating the physical environment. The difference is the nature of the activity associated with each. As a rule, ghosts will do things to the house while demonic spirits will do things to people. One tries to scare you out of the house, the other tries to scare you out of your mind. Truly, ghosts will do weird, spooky, scary, or strange things, but only infrequently terrifying."
You think they like to do stranger things?
I hate you so much. "A ghost will switch lights on and off, move small objects from room to room, or even project the sound of footsteps, shrieks, and cries. If there's an inhuman spirit in the house, on the other hand, that means the dwelling is now the realm of the demonic. Rarely, if ever, will an inhuman spirit manifest at the beginning. Instead, what should be looked for is truly sinister activity. The demonic is a negative spirit, so it eventually brings about unmistakably negative phenomena. At first, you're liable to hear knocks, raps, pounding, and scratching noises that are designed to try your patience and sanity."
You know what tries my patience? Your attitude.
Fuck you. You keep interrupting. "I hear knocks, and I feel..." This is back to now the emailer and what they're saying. "I hear knocks, and I feel things actually touching me. I wasn't concerned by the touching until recently. I went into sleep paralysis and legitimately got choked out. I woke up with the feeling of hands around my neck, and I couldn't breathe. I repeat, I was actually awake and able to move and felt like I was choking. With that, I see figures in my room at night, and I hear people talking to me, but I'm doing what I do the best, acting like nothing is happening. I don't know if I'm actually going crazy. I hope not, because I want to accomplish things in my life. So I recently bought a nightlight for nighttime, and I listened to BTS to sleep."
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense. Why not, right? "I didn't
what
even
is that
make...
song that we always... Idol?
Yeah,
Right?
I don't know. You have us listen to a million songs by a million different K-pop bands, so the only one I know is Likey by Twice. Fucking love that song. "I didn't even make a dent in telling you all the spooky things that happened to me, but I feel like this is getting a bit long, so I'll end this here. But I have one last question. Based off of the description of ghosts and demons, what do you feel like I'm dealing with? For all I know, it's just a malicious ghost, but it kind of seems a little too threatening to be. Anyways, thanks for reading this. You can share whatever you like on the podcast if you want. I listen from Spotify." Shout out Spotify. "You guys do such a great job, and I thoroughly enjoy listening to it when I work on my art portfolio.
Nice.
If you have any questions or comments, you can contact me through this email or DM my Instagram." Right on. So, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, we've heard from the official word of Ed and Lorraine Warren the difference between ghosts and demonic entities.
We are not...
Experts, professionals,
yeah,
none of that.
Nope, none of that. We just sit here and read stuff and research things periodically. And I honestly couldn't say what it is one way or the other. Because I feel like when it comes to things that are spiritual or paranormal, you never really know, you know? I hate that sentence. You never really know, you know?
Nailed it.
But... because supposedly demons can choose to pretend they're one thing, you know? Like that, movie.
About Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, well, the Annabelle one, where the spirit pretends to be their daughter and is like, hey...
Annabelle creation.
Let me back in. And so the parents are like, hell yeah, I'll let you back in. And it's like, joke's on you, I'm a demon.
Yeah, in this case, I think a lot of the activity that you're hearing sounded, at least initially, kind of like a ghost. Because it was like the projecting of like cries, like in this case, laughter, like footsteps and stuff like that. And the experience you had when you were a kid, that definitely doesn't sound like something that was demonic. If it brought you like all that comfort and joy, even though it scared you. Like we always talk about, like what happens if a person actually saw their guardian angel and they were hideous, you know? You'd freak out, You'd be terrified of it, you'd probably think it was a demon. That's not the case here, but you were scared as a kid. The more recent activity, though, does not really sound like a typical haunting. That definitely sounds like something more sinister than that. I think sinister is the best word to use there, because I don't know why you're smiling with that stupid look. You can't wait to make some reference to Bagul. I guarantee it, because that's the bad guy from the movie Sinister. I think the thing to highlight here is what you sent from Ed and Lorraine Warren, and that's like, try and increase your happiness, and it'll literally drive out anything. I do think letting sun into the room is like a brilliant suggestion.
Really big, yeah.
Like, when I was a kid, like, probably my most depressed, I shouldn't say kid, but when I was a teenager, my most depressed times, like,
oh my gosh, a teenager's a kid to you now.
Yeah, it is. I had aluminum foil over my windows because I was like, the sun will not enter my room.
That's terrifying.
That was mainly so I could just sleep in to as late as I wanted to. But yeah, like, as a grown-up now, I realize like how nice it is to just see the sun sometimes.
I'm big on natural light now. So in the morning when I'm getting ready, instead of turning the light on in the bedroom, I'm just like, open the window or you know, open the blinds so the light's coming in. And I just think natural light makes me feel a lot better, and I don't feel so suffocated.
Sunshine's the best medicine. I don't know if they actually say that. I'm What's for Dinner redeemed asked a question and said, what would scare you guys, disembodied child crying or laughing?
Laughing
For me.
But no, crying is sad.
Crying seems like an SOS. Laughing seems like whatever's going on in the midst of darkness is entertaining to them. So yeah, I can't say definitively. Shout out to Jake Reno 1, who just subscribed for the 6th month.
Is it Jake Reno or Jake Reno?
It might be Jake Reno 1. It says, happy 6 months. Keep on creeping on. It was their 6-month anniversary.
Thank you so much.
Like we said, we're not authorities or professionals on this.
Obviously not.
I think it's definitely increasing in severity, so it's a good thing that you have someone you can talk to, like the teacher you're interning with. And it's cool that they gave you a book, but that is not always that much help. So try the things like, I don't know, salt, wherever you can.
Vinegar.
I know it sounds stupid.
Salt and vinegar chips.
Not vinegar. I'm trying to be serious about this, but you just keep having to make a fucking joke off of every word I say. So salt, I would sage the house or smudge it or whatever you call it like that. I would get whatever. If you're still religious, I know you said you were raised Catholic. I don't know if you still are, but like...
Is smudging a pagan thing?
I don't know.
Like using sage and doing that stuff?
I don't know if it's specifically attached to any religion. I know a lot of the Catholics I know would burn incense and light sage in their house, so I don't know if it's a pagan thing or not.
Cool.
Whatever thing that you believe in that brings you joy or comfort, I think will definitely help in your situation. And if not, then maybe you want to talk to someone else or see if your teacher is someone else for you to talk to. So that's the advice I have to give.
Cool.
But right on. So before we move on, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Biddly-doo, biddly-doo, biddly-doo. And we're back.
All right. So this next email that I'm going to read here is titled, Why Were You Staring at Me?
It's pretty creepy.
Because you're a cutie patootie, probably. I don't know.
Shout out to I'm What's for Dinner, who just donated 100 bits. And it says, my bits are what's for dinner. That's awesome.
Ugh, but that could be construed in so many horrible ways.
That does sound kind of gross, but...
All right.
Don't think that's what you meant, but hey, you said it, so it's out there.
All right. So this email begins... Yo, dogs. Yo. My name is Ashley. Are you Ashley Meow Meow?
What up, Ashley?
Ashley.
Are you by Ashley? Hashtag by Ashley.
Oh, hashtag by Ashley?
Hang up on this email right now, because that's how emails work. You just hang up on them. Slam the phone down. Like 1990s rotary phones. There's no rotary phones in the 90s.
I was going to say...
I had one in the 90s, but it wasn't from the 90s.
Okay, I was going to say, because I'm pretty sure I had, like, phones that they had the rubber buttons and you just press the rubber buttons.
We had one in our house where it's like you had to go like if anyone had a 0 in their phone number, you weren't fucking calling them because it just took too long.
Yo, the first time I used a phone where I didn't have to plug it into a power outlet, I was like, what?
It's pretty cool.
This is insane.
It's a pretty good feeling.
Because it was just like it was one of those phones that were like a brick. It wasn't even a brick. It was just like one piece. It was like this. It had the little
that's
curly.
A really good anime. Who's interrupting who?
It had the curly cord stuck into the receiver, right? And you had to pick up this big thing, and you just press the buttons, but it wasn't plugged into the power outlet, and I was always just like, how the fuck does this work? I was just like, what?
Witchcraft.
Okay, anyway, so back to the email, and...
This is just a really good example of how easily we get distracted with just random nonsense.
You just see me at work, it's awful. So, my name is Ashley. I'm 29, and I'm from Ontario, Canada.
What up, Ashley? You're our second Canuck. that has sent us, and I'm pretty sure Canuck applies to all Canadians, and
Is
not
it?
just a specific province. If I'm wrong about
Well, then
that,
what's a Hoosier?
please correct me. A Hoosier is someone from Indiana.
Oh, what's a Hosier?
I don't know what a Hosier is. I think you're talking about Hoser,
Hoosier?
which is
Hoser. Yeah, what is that?
it's just something they call each other.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't
Let
know.
us know, Canadians.
Yeah,
We're not from Canada.
no, we're not from Canada. And I've only ever been to Vancouver.
I have an exciting, fun story that I might have already told, but I'm excited to tell it again. On vacation in Mexico, I was standing in line to get food, and some guy almost tripped, and I was like, dang, bro, like, you almost ate shit. And he's like, yeah. And then he was like, where are you from? I was like, I'm from Las Vegas. He's like, oh, cool. And then a bunch of his friends came by right when I said Vegas. There's like 5 or 6 people. And like, so you root for the Golden Knights, eh? And I was like, fuck, these are Canadians, and I don't know enough about hockey to keep this conversation going for too long. And I was like, I do like the Golden Knights. They're really special to that town because they showed up right after that shooting happened. But originally I'm from the Chicagoland area, so the Blackhawks, like, they're my heart. And they're like, oh yeah, Jonathan Toews, right? I was like, hell yeah, Toews, like, great presence in the locker room. He's like, yeah, he disappears on the stat sheet sometimes, but you can't replace that in the locker room. But you guys got Kaner. Like, Kaner can score from anywhere.
He still plays for them?
Yeah, I mean, he was young when he came in, so I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. And I just feel like I got nothing left. And so I was like, Ferda. Because I watch lots of Letterkenny, and they're like, Ferda. And I was like, cool, I'm going to go. I have to get a drink, so I'll see you guys later. And they're like, cool, it's nice meeting you. And he walked away. And my friend that was with me, I was like, I had nothing left in the tank, man. Like, that's everything I had to give.
My God.
I was like, I dipped into the Letterkenny. After that, I was going to have to start talking bad about people from Quebec.
So, oh my gosh, this is a horrible tangent. But I have a coworker. Well, I have multiple coworkers that are into Letterkenny. One of my coworkers got me into it, and then we found out, like, so-and-so really loves it. Like, she already bought tickets to the live show coming out to Vegas and everything. She was walking from her car, and I was coming in from a walk around the plant. She goes, how are you now? And I'm just like,
not so bad.
Not so bad. It was just so funny because we're just both laughing, and a couple of our other coworkers were just like, why are you guys laughing? We're just like, it's a Letterkenny reference. You gotta watch it. Jeez.
Like, just watch the show.
Anyway, okay. So I'm going to continue. I don't know how the fact that this person is from Ontario,
We've gotten
Canada.
through one sentence in 5 minutes because we had to talk about your name and then where you're from. We sincerely apologize.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and move forward now.
29, from Ontario. Being from Ontario, I can confirm that yes, all houses I've lived in or been to have a basement. All right?
Thank you. Well, I'm not crazy for having a house with a basement growing up.
I'm not going to Ontario.
Wow, that's fucked up.
JK, LOL, I've never been. I would totally go.
Once a year, Red Lake, Ontario, for 8 years in a row. It was amazing. I miss it.
That's East Coast, Ontario?
Yeah, it's more like Midwest. Yeah, I don't know if you guys call it the Midwest up in Canada, but yeah.
All right, so I found you guys on Spotify.
Shout out to Spotify.
Nice. I'm on Storytime episode 31. Hopefully you're way past 31 now. And I'm obsessed. You guys make my ear holes happy during work and during the nighttime. Please share this on the pod if you wish. Well, we've already been talking about it for like 20 minutes.
We're really trying to share it on the pod,
right,
we swear.
So, my fiance and I live together, and this experience happened in our last apartment in 2014. I got the flu and was bedridden for a few days. While taking a nap, I jolted awake and I was looking at my end table beside the bed, which was against the wall. I felt instantly scared, like when someone sneaks up on you, scared. When I looked down the wall, I was startled that my fiance was squatting beside the bed, just staring at me with a really big and kind of creepy smile.
That's terrifying. I'm glad that you're still alive because this happened in 2014 and this seems like possessed activity if they're just being super creepy in the middle of the night.
It was a smile that did not belong to him, and then he asked me if I was okay. I nodded yes and told myself to close my eyes, and I did. I went back to sleep. When I woke up again, I got out of bed and noticed I was the only one home.
I don't know. You said that this is your current fiance, and it's really weird to me that you're still with this person 6 years later.
But minutes later, I heard my fiance's car pull into the driveway, and when he made it inside, I asked him why he was staring at me while I was sleeping. He looked at me with a horrifying, confused look and told me he hadn't been home since I saw him that morning.
Holy shit.
Before he left to go do car stuff with his buddies.
I have goose skin, which it was referred to at work today, just from hearing that.
Weird. It's goosebumps
Lots
or
of people
chicken
say
skin.
It a bunch of different ways. Goose skin is fine. Chicken bumps is next. stop judging people, okay? How about that? Anyone can say it however they want. I got some body bumps. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I like your body bumps.
Body bumps everywhere sounds like something you tell your doctor before he gives
God.
you a big shot of penicillin.
Ew. Let's just say I migrated to the couch for the next few days. Love you guys. Keep up the amazing work. I do have more stories, and yes, I will send them in. Thank you.
Please do. We look forward to hearing them.
Also, I attached a picture of my 6-year-old Omen baby. His name is Bane, and he was named after Tom Hardy's amazing performance on The Dark Knight.
I saw the picture when I forwarded it off to get proofread, and I gotta say, your Omen baby is absolutely adorable. I'm gonna bring it up so Robin can see it, because it's so stinking cute.
Would you say it's totes adorbs?
I would say you merely adopted the cuteness. He was born with it, molded by it.
Oh my god!
It's so fucking cute, dude.
Look at his face!
Oh, it's adorable. It's a tiny white dog, and it just looks like it's smiling up at the camera. It's super photogenic.
But
it's absolutely adorable.
I just want to boop it.
Boop. I've booped your dog on my laptop screen, so hopefully it felt that
13
and started
out of 10
smiling.
would boop.
Absolutely adorable.
But yeah, thank you so much, Ashley, for sending that us. Thank
you so much for sending us.
Thank you. Shut up. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sending that to us. We really appreciate it.
I'm What's for Dinner in the chat says, my bumps, my lovely body bumps. And that will be in the episode because it's perfect. So thank you to everyone who sent your stories, and we appreciate you sharing. I know we had one where someone actually asking what we thought was going on. We do reiterate, we're not professionals, we're not scientists, we're not experts in this area by any means. But if you want to ask us our opinion, we'd be happy to give it to you. Don't take it as gospel or anything like that, because sincerely, we probably don't know what the hell we're talking about. But we do care for your well-being, so if you reach out to us, we're going to try and give you an honest answer. And if you just feel like sharing something because you don't want to feel like you're crazy, please feel free to reach out to us. You can email storytime@scaryish.com. That's our email. Or go to our website, scaryish.com, and click on Contact Us. Then you can hit us up on any of our social media feeds if you'd like. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod. And Instagram is @scarishpodcast. We also strongly recommend you join our Discord if you'd like. Just go to scarish.com. On the right-hand side are links to all of our social medias. If you click the Discord one, you'll be taken directly into the server. We've had a lot of folks join lately. It's been pretty cool to see that start growing again. And there's a lot of different channels. We're talking about exchanging Nintendo friend codes in there so we can have a bunch of groups for doing stuff, in particular Pokemon Sword and Shield. So for the folks who would like to donate monetarily, and I already talked about January Patreon push, but just to reiterate, Robin, how can folks go ahead and donate to us?
So you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/scaryish-podcast. Those are monthly donations. Tiers start at $1 a due and go up from there. All your support is greatly appreciated. Helps us get a little bit closer to making this something that we do as a job.
Be amazing.
Which would be great. And then we have Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/scaryish-podcast. Those are one-time donations. All those donations go to helping us upgrade our studio setup. And if you followed us from the beginning, you'll notice my hair, 1, is a lot longer. 2, our video quality and our audio quality has gotten a lot better as well. So,
that sound is me kissing my microphone because I love this microphone so
I looked up
much.
And I was like, can you see my knee? You can see my knee, but it's black because I have pants on, you fucking weirdo.
You got to put that out there into the eternal stratosphere of podcast listeners. That's usually a secret reserved for people watching our live streams. If I wear a fancy shirt, it's probably because I wore it to work, which means I'm not wearing my fancy pants. They're hung up somewhere. So I'm going pantsless some nights. So that shit just sort of happens. And yes, someone may have paid me money to see my naked knee. That happens on the live stream. Maybe you should show up and check it out sometime. You can see what you can get me to do for money. So that sounded weird, but hey.
Oh my God.
I'm sticking with it. So thank you to everyone again who sent in their stories. We sincerely appreciate you. Everyone who donates, everyone who supports, listens, watches, all of it. You guys are absolutely amazing. And we do love you. No joke.
Thank you so
it's
much.
Not hyperbole. We seriously do. So I think that's just about everything we have for Storytime number 102. So Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.